أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذ أوى الفتية إلى الكهف فقالوا ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا فضربنا على آذانهم في الكهف سنين عددا ثم بعثناهم لنعلم أي الحزبين أحصى لما لبثوا أمدا نحن نقص عليك نبأهم بالحق إنهم فتية آمنوا بربهم وزدناهم هدى صدق الله العظيم. Respected brothers, today inshallah we will be looking at the incident, the story of Ashabul Kahf in detail, what took place, when it took place, what happened. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran ayah that I have recited mentions the full story in brief. Now I mentioned before when we started Surah Kahf, see Surah Kahf, it can be split into 8 parts. You have to understand, Surah Kahf, it has 8 parts. And the first, it starts off a khutbah. I said in the Surah Kahf there are 8 parts, and 4 there's khutbahs, meaning 4 nasihat and advice, and there are 4 stories. In Surah Kahf, if you were to look at full Surah Kahf, there are 4 stories and there are 4 advice, and meaning nasihat, a khutbah. So the Quran started off with advice, nasihat, the things that will occur before Qiyamah, because obviously the first 10 ayats are protection from Dajjal. And last week we finished off with the 10th ayat. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this mention, I will pray this again, that there were 7 people, they were fitya, it just says young people, they went away to a kahf. Kahf meaning a cave to protect their iman, and they made this dua, Rabbana atina min ladunka rahmah. This is the 10th ayat. Okay, oh Allah, give me, oh Rabb, give me from you rahmat, mercy to protect us from the fitna, and protect us and prepare for us in our matters, rashada, guidance. So this is the dua of the young people. Now, this is where the story starts of Surah Kahf. Now, the Surah Kahf, one of the reason it was revealed was the Jews, they said to the Quraysh, ask the Prophet, if the Prophet ﷺ can answer this question, that means he's a true Prophet. So the Prophet ﷺ was asked that, what is the story of the 7 people? And this is where the story is mentioned. Now, this amazing, this story, it starts off ayat number 10, and it finishes off in ayat number 26. See, there's a lot of stories that are mentioned in the Quran. They're not there's always a purpose for a story. In actual fact, Surah Yusuf alayhi story is the only probably story that's mentioned all throughout, from the beginning to the end. It's the only story in the Quran that Allah Ta'ala mentions from the beginning to an end. If you notice any other stories like Musa alayhi story, there's a bit there, a bit here, a bit there, and some bits in the first parah, then some bits in the 20th parah. It's all scattered because what the purpose of a story is to learn lessons. So Ashab Kahf is a very great lesson for mainly the Akhirul Zaman, end of time, people that will be living, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet has ordered us to read this. So it's a very big, a lot of lessons to be learned from this story. And this is where the story starts. Now, the way Allah Ta'ala has arranged the story in Surah Kahf is amazing. First, see, if you briefly mention, there were young people, they went to the cave, they went to sleep, they went to the cave, they went to sleep, they woke up, and then after that they started talking amongst each other. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these 4 points mentions of, like, you have before you start bullet points. They went to the cave, they went to sleep, they woke up, and then they will start talking amongst them when they woke up, what happened after that. Allah Ta'ala, from here, 4 ayahs that I read today is bullet points. This is what happened, then this happened, then this happened, then this happened. And then the 4 ayahs, Allah Ta'ala elaborates and talks from ayat number 12 all the way to 26 is the full story of Surah Kahf in more detail. So inshallah we'll go into the Quran ayat. But what is the story of Ashab Kahf? When it took place and what time was it? So the first question is, when did this take place? Okay, the Ashab Kahf, the story, the people of cave, when did it take place? Now there's a difference of opinion with the Mufassirin. Some have said it happened before Isa alayhi salam, about 100 years before Isa alayhi salam, and they went to sleep for how long? 300 years, remember? So it went past Isa alayhi salam and they woke up after Isa alayhi salam in between the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the majority, they say it happened in the year 250 AD. Meaning, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Isa alayhi salam, when he passed away, there were 572 years. That's how much gap there were from the Prophet Isa to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this incident happened at the year 250 AD, meaning 250 years after Isa alayhi salam. This incident happened, and it took place while they went to sleep. So then they woke up. They must have woken after 300 years. It's 550. That's like 22 years before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is what some mufassirin and historians have mentioned. These 7 people, they were following the religion of Isa alayhi salam. It took place between Jordan and Palestine. There's a place called Elia. It took place, and in there there's a town called, in the Tafseer it says Afsus ya Tarsus. These are the names that are, they're not really important, but they just mentioned in the Tafseer. There are 7 people that, there's 2 incidents why they went to the cave. There's 2 stories beforehand. There was this king, his name was Daqyanus. That was the king's name at that time, Daqyanus. And he would force everyone to worship the idols. He was also himself worshipping the idols. See, Isa alayhi salam's religion had faded away. We have to understand Isa alayhi salam. After Isa alayhi salam, well, they crucified him, and then obviously they split into groups. The Christianity is split up into 3 groups. Some have made it Isa alayhi salam, the God, the Son of God. So they were confused within the religion themselves. So then it started to fade away, and when it's faded away, they went to idol worshipping. And this king Daqyanus was the idol worshipper, and he would force everyone to worship idols. And if you didn't worship idols, he would kill you. That's it. And this is when the Romans were in charge, the superpowers. These Romans, they ruled for this one of the greatest empires. They ruled for 1,000 years, and this started before Isa alayhi salam, continued after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was Umar radiallahu ta'ala who took down the Roman Empire. So this was that time, and he was a king of that time, the Romans, and they were idol worshippers. So the first story is that he would go around each city, every city, and he would force everyone to worship the idols, and if you accepted, then he would be happy, and if you rejected, there were some still following the religion of Isa alayhi salam. So if you are rejected, he would just kill you. And remember, this is connected to Dajjal. This is the first story. That the Dajjal will come and he will force everyone to leave, or he will put so much hardships on people that will not follow him as the God and Allah. This is a connection between Dajjal and the story of Ashab al-Kahf. This king Daqyanus forcing everyone to leave the religion and I worship the idols, and this is what Dajjal is going to do. So this is the 7 people, what they've done to save the religion. So this story comes that he came into this place, their place, called Afsus, and when he entered the city, he's telling everyone to worship the idols. And he would have a mela, he would have a celebration where everyone would gather, and he would have all the idols there, so everyone would come and would have to worship. So they all went to that park or the place they were worshipping the idols. So these 7 people, obviously, they were following the religion of Isa alayhi salam, and they understood. Allah had given them hidayat that this was wrong, and they had to follow the religion of Isa alayhi salam. So one by one, what happened is they went away from that celebration, the mela, wherever they were having. One went out and he sat down under the tree, and then somehow, when you go into a place where you're not part of it, you can just tell that we're not part of that group. So these 7 people, we're not part of it. So one just felt, left out. So then he walked around and went and sat under the tree. Second person as well, he's seen this guy, he's alone. So then he went and he sat down there. Third person, fourth person. And likewise, they all just gathered under that place. Allah Ta'ala just gathered them together. There were only 6 of them at the beginning. The 7th one is a farmer that will join them afterwards. So there's only 6 of them sitting there. Now they're all scared of each other as well, because if you tell them, you weren't allowed to show your Isa alayhi salam's religion. If you tell other people that this is your religion you're following, he would go tell Daqyanus, and Daqyanus would kill them. So they were all hiding, they were just saying. So then, obviously, one of them, his name was Tamliha, he spoke out and he said, "Oh, what are you here for?" So then he just, nicely just said, the reason I'm here, I personally think, nice. He said, I don't believe in all this, and it's wrong. We shouldn't be worshipping idols. We should worship Allah. And the da'wah started like this. And this how the second person thought, yes, I'm here for the same reason. And he said, yeah, I believe in and accept it. And they all became friends. And when they all became friends, this is what happened. Then when they became friends, they got together. They started to worship Allah. He started some religion. They started to worship Allah and left idol worshiping. So the people of town, Daqyanus, found out, called these 7 people. Well, there were 6 for us, they called them, and he said, what are you worshipping? He said, we are worshipping Allah, and give that da'wah, and which is going to come. رَبُّنَا وَرَبُّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَن نَدْعُوَ. Quran, it comes that they give da'wah to the king. That we are worshipping Allah, only the one who is the Lord of the sky, and they give the da'wah. And obviously Daqyanus, as the king, forced them that if you don't leave your religion, if you don't worship the idols, I will have to kill you. I will give you time, because they were young people. Now these young people fled to save their religion. This is what we need to understand. It's the young generation that, because of them, Allah Ta'ala loved that amal so much. He's mentioned them in the Quran. They're in the environment where if they stay in the environment, their iman is in danger. So they had to get out, because they were being forced to leave the religion. So they had to leave that environment. So that environment, they said, you know what? This Daqyanus king would, like I said, go around cities. So he said, I'm going to go away for 3 days into another city, and I will come back after some time, and that time, I'm giving you this much time, you have to leave your religion. You leave your religion and follow and worship the idols. So they got time. So in that time, they ran away to the cave. This is when they were going to the cave, and whilst going to the cave, they met this charwaha, they met this farmer. Whilst going, the farmer said, where are you going? And he told them, and he followed with them, and there was a dog. The farmer had a dog, and the dog followed. So there were 7 now with one dog. The dog's name, this is Qitmir. This in Tafseer actually got the 7 names as well. And the Tamliha was the most wise. His name is mentioned, Tamliha. You have to understand this person, because he does he's like the main man from the 7 group. He's like the Amir, Tamliha. So they all give their money to Tamliha. Then some Tafseer said that they said, go home, let's get all the money what we have, and then we'll give some sadaqah, because they were following. They give some sadaqah, they give it to the poor, and then the rest of the money we will gather, and we'll just do our ibadat. So they took that money, they give it to Tamliha to look after, and they went away and they hide inside the cave for as long as Daqyanus had not come back. So this Tamliha, he would every day, they would worship Allah. This is what the main thing is. Leave the environment, worship Allah in the cave. This is what I remember Prophet ﷺ done as well. He would go away from Makkah, the city, and he'd go to Ghar Hira, Ghar Thawr, and he would worship Allah, meditating, all this before prophethood, and that's why he was given Iqra. So to go away from the environment and worshiping Allah, it's all mentioned in the Quran, the Prophet and these people away, they are worshiping Allah. Tamliha every night, every day, he would wear, see these people, it says in Tafseer, they were respected people. They were the children of respected leaders, Amir. They were very rich people as well, so they had good clothes. They left everything, sacrificed everything. It is a lesson. They were rich people, respected family of leaders, the people of kings in that palace, but they left all that, and when they used to, Tamliha would hide and wear very dirty clothes. He would come, spy, look around, get food with the money that they had, and they would eat and they would do worship. Few days went past, and this Daqyanus comes back. Now, Daqyanus, when he's back, at the same time, Tamliha was going out looking for food. Once he got food, and he found out Daqyanus is back, so he went back to the cave and he told them, look, Daqyanus is back and he's looking for us. So after that, they never went out the cave, and Daqyanus sent his people to look for these 7 people. So they searched, and in Tafseer it said that they actually reached this place, and he knew that they were hiding in the cave. Some said he just didn't know. Some Tafseer said he didn't know. Allah Ta'ala just put them to sleep, and they don't know what happened next. And some Tafseer mentioned, this Daqyanus king, he got his people and he came right up to the cave, and he thought these people are inside, thinking, Daqyanus, that they are alive inside. I am going to kill them anyway, so I might as well make a wall. So he covered that place, and he made a wall that they could not get out at the entrance. And some Tafseer, they got close to that wall, the cave, and the way Allah Ta'ala, when we go into the detail, the way Allah Ta'ala puts a picture onto it. He said that there was a dog that was just sat in front of that mouth of the cave. So whenever anyone would go there, they would fear and they would run away. So according to the Quran, it says that the Daqyanus came, but he was very scared. He just ran away and they just left and thought, wait them. They can't come. Some tafsir said they put a wall there so they were not allowed to come and they would just die. But Allah Ta'ala had other plans. Allah Ta'ala's plan was put them to sleep. And He put them to sleep for 300 years. Now, this is the most amazing, this is a miracle of Allah. 300 years they slept. Now imagine 300 years, someone goes sleep now, 2017, and you wake up at 23,000, 20, 21, 17, 22, 17, 23, 17, 2017, 300 years. Imagine the world, how much someone went sleep 1700 and they wake up in 2020, essentially. What's happened to the world? So this is what Allah Ta'ala done. They put him to sleep. Now obviously Daqyanus, kings came, they came. And all that, the whole world had changed. And that time they said in Tafseer that the religion of Isa and the Nasrani, it came back. There were some other followers. The idol worshipping finished, and this new king, his name in this says Bedrusis. These are the names that they used to have. Bedrusis was a new king, and he was a religious, he was a worshipping king, and he was in rule after 300 years. So when they woke up after 300 years, see, this is Allah Ta'ala's miracle. It says that the ruh, what happened to the sleep? Were they really sleeping? Were they, they took the soul out? What Allah Ta'ala, did they take the soul out? Were they sleeping? What happened to their nails, their hair? Did they not grow, their age? All these things, it's just a miracle of Allah, how Allah Ta'ala done it. We just don't know. Was it in this space of time and, was it in a different world? Was it here? It didn't say they didn't pass away. They were asleep for 300 years. فَضَرَبْنَا عَلَىٰ آذَانِهِمْ. That first side, Allah Ta'ala said, we put them to sleep for 300 years. One thing we know that they were just asleep for 300 years. So that time when this man, this new king was in charge, what's his name? His name was Bedrusis. That was a new king. And he was very religious, very pious. And in his samana, this is what he made some dua. There was two groups. One group did not believe in death, and after death, resurrection, they didn't believe. So he had made dua, Ya Allah, give me a sign. This is a dua that this new king would make. Ya Allah, show me a sign where I can make my people believe that there is resurrection after death. So basically, sleep is a sister of death. So this is what Allah Ta'ala had planned. So this, after 300 years, at the same time, this man made the dua, this king, and they woke up. And the tafsir said the wall was made. Said that after one farmer had gone there and he'd broken down the wall. Now, this Daqyanus, remember this king, what happened in tafsir is he's written all this down, that there's 7 people, they have run away, and it's left in a box, the names of these 7 people, and it was passed on to the kings. And there are 7 people, remember these are the ones that left and they have gone missing, and no one knew where they went. The parents even knew, and they said in tafsir, Daqyanus, he even called the parents, he wanted to kill the parents. Parents said, what have we done? So these 7 people, some have said that their names are written on that cave, because some people that had hidden their religion, they had written the names that these 7 people that are sleeping here, there are these names, if you ever were to wake them up, and there's some full text written near the cave. So after 300 years, these people wake up. So these people still think that in the zaman of Daqyanus. So they think, first thing they do, they worship, we need to have some food. So Tamliha, the leader, the Amir, they said, you go, and what's happening is Daqyanus still there. How long did they sleep? In the Quran it mentioned, some of them thought 1 day, half a day. They went to sleep when the sun had risen and the sun set. That's when they woke up. That's what the time, because they thought half a day. Then Allah knows best. Tamliha, he goes out. Now 300 years you come, and you think, what's happened? So he didn't realize all these changes. So when he comes to, imagine 300 years are finished, and you come to a world like, so then he thought, because he was so scared, he didn't pay attention much, and he thought that he got lost in the path. He goes, I'm in a different city. Obviously, if you come after 300 years, it's all changed. And now it's a religion of Isa alayhi salam. First, Isa alayhi salam's name was not mentioned. The religion, Allah, you couldn't. But now it was openly people. There's, if you come to a place where there's no masjid, I just see so many masjids and so many places that people are worshipping Isa alayhi salam. Thinking, then he's asking someone, what's this place called? And then he said, this place is called Afsus, like, the place. So then he's thinking, so he's still hiding. He goes into the city, thinking Daqyanus people will catch him. He's still trying to not show himself. And this is when the Quran will come. So when they go into that shop and he gives the old 300 years old sikka, the money, and it has a picture of Daqyanus. So this shopkeeper went to buy some bread, takes a sikka, the coin, and says, what coin is this? If you get someone coming to you in the shop and gives you 300-year-old coin, think, what's this? So he said, then he passed it on to the shopkeeper. They're talking. He said, this man has found some treasure. You know what, we need to take you. So they grab him, and now he thinks, Tamliha thinks he's going to take him to Daqyanus. And he says, everyone found out, and I'm going to be killed now. So this man is taken to the king, which is not the Daqyanus, it's the new king, Bedrusis. So they take him to the new king after 300 years. And then in there's so many other tafsir as well. They asked Bedrusis that, we are the 7 people, obviously saying that, obviously his religion is very pious person. He said, we were asleep 300 years ago, this is the Daqyanus. And then he remembered, because he was a king, according to one tafsir, that he took out that slate which had their names on it. And he says, are these the names? And he says, yes, Tamliha, that is my name. And these are the 7 people. And then they took that king and the people to that cave. Now here again, there's 2 tafsirs. One tafsir says that they actually took him to the cave. They all met together and they continued worshipping. And then that king made a masjid there in remember, and they just passed away normal. A masjid is built there. And that's going to be mentioned in the Quran as well. Other tafsir mentioned that when Tamliha took them, Tamliha said, wait here, I will tell my people because they don't get shocked and scared. I will tell my friends that this is what's happened. We're waking up after 300 years. The world has changed. So when he goes back to the cave, they just say that he never returned. And some have said that this passed away. Allah Ta'ala made them pass away in that cave, and that cave is still. And then the masjid was built there. The king that is made. So no one knows. In tafsir is all difference of opinion. They passed away a normal death as well, both tafsir, but whether they are passed away there or whether they continued worshipping. Maqsad, we don't even need to know all that. So these are all tafsir. The purpose is not to know what happened to them. Did they carry on living? Are they still sleeping? Where's a cave? All that is not the purpose. Quran doesn't talk about all that. It just tafsir, it talks about all this stuff. Purpose is what the reason was, why they fled, and what was the main reason. So Allah Ta'ala, inshallah, there's 4 ayats. I told you 4 things happened. They fled, they ran away, they went to the cave, they went to sleep, they woke up, and then they started to, Ayyul Hisbayn, which one of them were more correct. They started to talk amongst each other. 4 things, 4 bullet points, and then inshallah next week we'll just go into the tafsir and more detail from the Quran ayat. I told you it's up to ayat 26. So Allah Ta'ala today says, فَضَرَبْنَا عَلَىٰ آذَانِهِمْ. We cast the veil onto their ears, meaning we put them to sleep. We put them to sleep. فِي الْكَهْفِ سِنِينَ عَدَدًا. Sinina, many years. Adad is numbers, a many number of years we put them to sleep. فَضَرَبْنَا. In that, so before that, the 10th ayat was إِذْ أَوَى الْفِتْيَةِ. That these people took refuge into the cave and they made this dua. So the Daqyanus king forcing everyone to leave the religion. This is the 10th ayat we should read every day. Again, I'm going to mention because we're not going to do this. We should read these ayats at least every day. It will protect us from the fitna of the Dajjal, because the 10th ayat is the dua of the 7 people. Our dua will be the same and dua that the 7 people made. Ya Allah, protect us from this fitna. And then it says, we put them to sleep for. So the إِذْ أَوَى الْفِتْيَةُ, they went to the cave. Bullet point number 1. And the tafsir will do it. Why did they go? Second point, فَضَرَبْنَا عَلَىٰ آذَانِهِمْ فِي الْكَهْفِ سِنِينَ عَدَدًا. That we cast a veil onto their ears in the kahf, in the cave, سِنِينَ عَدَدًا, for many amount of years. Point number 2, they went to sleep. Number 3 was, they woke up. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاهُمْ. And then after that, we raised them. لِنَعْلَمْ. So they woke up. And why did they work? لِنَعْلَمَ أَيُّ الْحِزْبَيْنِ أَحْصَى لِمَا لَبِثُوا أَمَدًا. So 4 points, and in 4 points they will do tafsir. Point number 1, ayat number 4, 5 ayats. Point number 2, there will be few ayats. Point number 3, it goes into more details. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاهُمْ لِنَعْلَمْ. So that we know. أَيُّ الْحِزْبَيْنِ. Hizb means a group. Which of the 2 groups? Now what is it by 2 groups? There were different groups. Some say the believers or the non-believers. Some say that there were a group between the 7 people. There's 2 groups. How long have we lived for? Oh, 1 day, half a day. So there was 2 groups between them. Some say there was 2 groups between the people, the city, and 1 group was the group of those 7 people. So which one, whatever, and it's actually going to come that the group between the people, ثَلَاثَةٌ رَابِهُمْ وَخَمْسَةٌ سَادِسُهُمْ. There was 3 of them and 4th of them dog. 4 of them, 5 of them were dogs. Someone says there was 5, 6 of them was dog. All that will come, the Hizbayn, which group? So some say that's what it means by Ayyul Hizbayni. Which of the 2 groups are Ahsa? Ahsa is more correct in numbers, like how many were there in numbers? Lima labithu, for how long they stayed, amada, the time they had stayed there. Inshallah, we'll keep up to here today. Next we'll start from Nahnu Naqussu, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts to mention and to go into detail about these things. The lesson we need to just learn today is this lesson, that these 7 people went and left the environment to protect their deen, and this is what we are told to read every week, and this is a reminder that a time may come where there will be so much fitna, you will have to leave. You will be tested with, I mentioned there's 4 stories of 4 tests. This is a test of deen. Your deen will be tested, and for your test of deen, you will have to leave environment. You will have to do what these 7 people have done. And I mean, Jamaat, is Mawlana Ilyas, he was saying the cave. Mawlana Ilyas decided, Jamaat last week, he's saying that the cave, it can be cave leaving, because you youngsters, he said to us that you've left your environment. This masjid can be the cave. The cave for that time, for the kids, was that cave. But the cave for today, what is the cave? The cave, maybe we can't find a literal cave and go there and start worshipping, but cave for protecting our deen. Masjid is probably the cave. The madrasas, the khanqahs, to be in an environment is the cave, because this is the way to protect our deen. If we are outside, we're going to be attacked, our deen is going to be attacked, we're going to be tested. We have to run away, leave the environment, and spend our time in the cave like those 7 children did. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to protect our deen and save us from all kinds of fitna. Ameen wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Inshallah, next week we will do the tafsir of the Surah Kahf from the Quran. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursaleen, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.